I can't hear you guys if you're trying to talk. Yeah, I can't hear. I don't know if anyone else can hear in chat.
Can you hear from
I
Jess?
can hear now.
Did they hear us? Chico. Wait. What happened to the?
Wait, I can hear. I can hear. I can hear.
I mean, you said you couldn't come.
Jacob, can you keep talking? Can they hear? Oh. They can't? No, there's nothing plugged in.
Dylan Tran.
Can they hear from this?
Got my first gray hair today. I
Yeah,
blame these guys.
I just,
We were sitting.
okay, just use this. What about the speaker?
How am I supposed to talk?
I don't think they need it. Oh, okay, I got it.
If it's like straight white, it means there's air bubble in it volatile. It happens when you get stressed. If it's gray.
Can someone say
it means
something?
you're losing melanin in your hair.
I had both.
God damn it.
He's losing milk.
One was pure white and the other one was turning gray. I was like, oh shit. I'm gonna look old. Oh, I didn't even put who am I slide. Yo, chat, I need a who am I slide. Get to it, Bill.
Hello? Bro, what the fuck? We could just have Dylan.
I don't even know what my slides look like.
Bro, what?
I forgot. Do I got like a preview somewhere so I can make sure I know what I'm gonna talk about next? Oh, I don't understand this fucking operating system works. Oh, we're not live, are we?
Oh, we are.
Oh,
From there. So the speaker's coming from Jess's.
this is the mic?
Yeah, because there's not a mic.
Oh, so they just heard me, so they just heard me yelling and stuff.
Wait, back up. That's how we met. That's just. Yeah.
What?
And he was like bright red.
Okay, how do I know if the mic is working or not?
It is working. They can hear you.
Chat, can you hear me? Oh, dang. Oh, snap, they can hear me. Wow.
Oh.
Okay, well, I guess we'll start in 2 minutes.
Wow,
refuse to-
Come on, man.
Refuse to believe it. Gotta be something.
It's fine. Just talk louder.
I mean, they can hear fine. Yeah.
Are you sure it's?
Okay, let's just kick off.
Okay. Boss's order said to start the meeting right now, and I want to start in 1 minute, so I guess we'll go ahead and start then. What? Hello? Yikes. So which one is being screened? So Zoom sees, so it's like,
Wait,
okay.
I don't know, there was an echo.
No,
Oh,
we
you-
fixed
you-
it. We
you look-
patched it, bro. Okay, cool. This is our last Tuesday meeting. I'm gonna keep it pretty informal for multiple reasons. One of them being, I forgot what I put on these slides last night. So we're gonna keep it pretty informal and you guys, if you have any questions, you can feel free to toss them in whenever. Today's subject, the competition teams. You should join us. They're pretty fun. And there's a sign in. It helps. I think we get money out of it. I don't. I haven't seen a penny, but there's also a banquet happening on May 4th. Is that this Saturday or is that next Saturday? What? Oh, my bad.
So we have the CIS banquet coming up this Saturday from 12 to 2. It's gonna be at Kellogg's West. You guys should come. It's free food, which is really cool. If you guys are curious what food it is, it's salmon, steak, and salad. So you guys should definitely come. It'll be a lot of fun. We're gonna have alumni speakers coming from, because it's a collaboration with Women in Tech, Swift, Missa, and Fast. So we're having alumni speakers come from these clubs. And also, we're gonna have just like fun games and chances to win prizes. So you guys should come if you are free. Thank you.
Wow, that sounds great. I like food and I hope you do too. There's also a Taco Tuesday. Yeah. I think that one happened in one of them religious books. I don't know when this one is.
Right after me.
Oh, word.
1:30.
Sick. Okay.
Anaheim, California.
What?
Yeah, actually.
Anaheim? It's in Anaheim. Okay, I guess there's a Taco Tuesday happening on, I don't know, 55 miles away from here. Cool. Today's agenda. We're gonna have an overview of the competition stuff. Then we're gonna talk about what's gonna go down during the summer. Then we'll go back to the competitions again with a different label, and then we'll talk about some war stories. I don't think I had an introduction slide, so I'm gonna sneak it in really quick. Oh, it is? Where? Oh, word. Just like that. Wait, where is it? Is it this one? Is it this? Oh, awesome. You copy pasted this, didn't you? Okay, yeah. So quick introduction to me, since I don't think I presented at all this semester for the first time until now, unfortunately. I don't like presenting. It's too much work. I'm Dylan. I'm your director of academy. So that means I backseat all these presentations and yell at people to do work and then tell them to do it better, even if it's already good. I was on the competition teams, which is why I'm speaking about them. I've been on them for my entire time here at Cal Poly, so 3 years now, and I'm retiring because I hate them. And they gave me a gray hair. No, but you should join them. So an overview of probably the competitions and CPP Cyber. Oh, never mind, the competitions. Okay, cool. We're starting off with CPTC. All right. So CPTC, that stands for the Collegiate Penetration Testing Competition. This is one of the, I mean, we've been doing more competitions recently, but this was one of our somewhat newer slash older ones it's right in the middle. Basically, you hack stuff, right? Hacking is cool when it's legal. Have to put that one in there. The team size is 6 on the main roster, 2 in the alternates. Like the majority of cyber competitions, alternates are a little bit deprived of human rights and they don't actually get to compete or go. But the way we kind of do it here, at least historically, is that we allow alts to basically participate with the team trainings and attend all of our stuff and get a lot of hands-on stuff. This competition is international, so there are teams from Canada, Europe, Middle East, sometimes Asia. I don't know. They change the regions every year. There are 2 rounds. There's the regional round, which used to be held in Stanford, but then they took it away from us. So now it's being held in Coastline, just like CCDC, unfortunately. The format of the competition is you have a bunch of machines, you have a fake company, and they say, okay, you go to the site of the competition. They put you in a room and you start hacking stuff for about 8 hours for each day of the competition. Regional is going to be 1 day. And then you'll have a report due at the end of the night. It's a whole lot of pressure. And in between, you will have clients coming in representing the fake company, the fictional company. They'll be asking you questions. It'll be dumb stuff, or they'll make you how do I say this without cursing? They'll make you really scared because they'll blame something on you and you'll be panicking. Then you have globals, which is effectively the same thing, but one more day. You're revisiting the same network, but they've modified it. They've added and changed things. And on top of having a report that contains all the findings that you've found during the engagement, you're also gonna have to present your findings to the company itself. The presentation is probably the most scary part of this because it's going to be filled with people in the industry, vice presidents, actual testers, people who know what they're talking about, and people who are there to prey on your downfall. So it is pretty scary. But you got to fly out to New York. It's pretty cold usually. When you're at CPTC, there's a bunch of different technologies that they'll bring, that they'll introduce you to. Well, I wouldn't say you're introduced to, it's more like you're expected to know how to deal or learn on the fly to actually test them. On the Linux end of things, you'll have web apps, databases, CMSs, CRMs, a bunch of just, it's the attack surface on Linux is going to be typically web-based stuff with the very periodic, they have some sort of service running, like a database that's just has remote unauthenticated access because they wanted to give you something free. You'll on the Windows end of things, there's always been Active Directory and more web apps. Recently, they also had some extra Active Directory stuff, such as Active Directory certificate services. And then on the far right, you have their custom stuff, which is either going to be really fun if you know what you're doing, or if you were like us this year, you don't know what the heck it is, and it's just pain and suffering. So sometimes they have some custom industrial control systems or just that vein of technology. They also had AWS this year, which was actually fun. There's a lot of stuff to learn, and over the summer, we will cover a good deal of this. There's also a business component because in CPTC, while you are just hacking a fictional company legally, it is intended to replicate the sort of real world practice of penetration testing. And in penetration testing, you have a client who is explicitly asking for your service for you to test their network. So the entirety of CPTC is effectively oriented around the business. You have time-sensitive deliverables, right? You have your report, your presentation. You have to make sure, it's not just like an essay. It's not just a bunch of words that you're putting down, but you have to take into consideration what the client wants. When they sent out the request for the test, you have to think, what were the objectives that they wanted to give you? You have to think about what points of concern are on their network, not just things from a technical lens. During the competition, as I was saying, you have to serve the clients. They'll ask you stupid questions. They'll bring up incidents that are happening and try to deconflict with you. They'll pull a bunch of things out of their pockets and really try to, and it honestly catches you off guard many times. And you just have to be ready to always answer on the fly, or how in the best business way possible to say, not our fault, or you're dumb. Then there's also CCDC. It looks like Evan's here, so he would be a great person to talk about this. I'm gonna call on the stand right here. Thank you, Captain.
Yeah. Where's the microphone? Is this the microphone?
Yeah, I guess that's the mic. Oh, that's funny because there's a guy named Mike.
Oh yeah. So I was the CCDC captain this year. I've been doing Windows networking and everything in between as well. CCDC is the counterpart to CPTC in that it is completely defense oriented, in which CPTC you're attacking systems, CCDC you're defending systems. At least that's what they want you to think. There's a lot of IT infrastructure, automation, and just like general IT stuff that we do along with the defense. But there's a good portion of incident response and things to learn in that nature. There are 3 rounds: qualifiers, regionals, and nationals. Although nationals if you make it to nationals, and similarly qualifier or regionals if you make it to regionals. You get pretty complex networks in WRCCDC. There's Kubernetes, AWS, on-prem services, virtualization services, everything that you'd see in the real world, kind of, you'd see here. Oh, that's crazy.
It is.
That's a lot of the things I just listed.
It is.
Yeah. So at Nationals, we were an HR service and we were hosting 30 web apps that were all the same HR service. And it was very confusing. Derek can tell you about that. Derek's not
He's
here.
stretching.
Derek, yeah, Derek was changing people's passwords with MD5 hashes. Not a good time. Yeah, we have like customer portions. Jessica is our business lead. She writes a lot during competitions and she has a great time doing it.
I don't. She asked me to write something nice. I spent 30 minutes and I wrote 3 sentences. She didn't like that.
But yeah, if you're more interested in the blue team side and like just IT infrastructure or automation
Or engineering.
or engineering, that's what we do. Next year captain is the other Dylan, who we call Mike, but now he can be Dylan.
Oh.
And so he'll have more information about summer boot camps. I'll be helping him out with that. And yeah, TLDR, there's a lot in CCDC if you want to do blue team. That's crazy. Yeah, business. During regionals and nationals, I guess we got around 30 tasks given to us to just learn on the fly how to do. Compliance, setting up this random service or setting up an automation task for business efficiency,
Wi-Fi stuff.
network authentication, set 3 VPNs in an hour and tell us which one's the best for our company use case. Totally wouldn't inspect element on a VPN to show that it works. And then, yeah, a lot of this is like actually good practice for business world in which you're writing succinct emails to people being like, this is what I found out. This is what's important. Here's how it helps us.
I can't even talk about this.
I can't talk about this
wasn't
either.
there. Yeah, that's my Cyberforce guy, my cyber guy.
Everybody, I'm Alex. I was a part of the Cyberforce team. So Cyberforce is a cybersecurity competition hosted by the Department of Energy. It's basically a competition to like simulate an attack on critical infrastructure. And it's not like your traditional cybersecurity competition where it's kind of like attack and defend or like you're like pen testing. I kind of like to think of this like competition as a 3-week long competition because there's a lot of pre-work that needs to be done that affects your score on the day of the competition. So week 1, you're essentially just making like a little like video for a fictional panel of executives. It's pretty easy. You just like talk about business stuff. So we talked about basically they gave us like little like smart meters. We kind of had to like figure out what smart meters were and like how an attack on that would like affect the business, I guess, and like how can we fix stuff? Like how can we implement like an EDR or like an IDS into our system, and like the cost of that. It's just business stuff basically. It's not hard. And then week 2, security documentation. Security documentation, it's I thought it was pretty fun. Basically they give you like your network like 2 weeks before the competition day. And essentially like you survey your network, you find vulnerabilities, you find, document, and remediate the vulnerabilities on some of the boxes. Some of the boxes you can't, some boxes you don't touch at all. And then you harden. And then you kind of have to like create security documentation. So you create a little report on what your network looks like, what's on the different boxes on your network, and a little like network diagram. And then yeah, you kind of just like document all that, put it onto thing. We kind of lagged on this. I'm not gonna lie. We stood up till 4 a.m. the day it was due. It was due at 6 a.m. and never used SharePoint for anything because we moved one thing on SharePoint and it deleted pretty much everything on it, and we had to start from scratch. So yeah, don't use
Tell me
SharePoint.
that.
Who knows? Who told us to use SharePoint? I don't know. And then week 3, this is the week before the comp. You're not allowed to, well, you already turned in security documentation, so you're not allowed to like fix anything with that, but you're still allowed to do stuff on the network. So, more hardening, finding more bones. And then, yeah, it's pretty much it. Also fixing the website. The website's like pretty hard, to be honest. We hard coded a lot of things like logins from a database. How do you fix the database? I don't know. And then competition day. Competition day, it's not like your traditional cybersecurity competition. It's very CTF heavy and incident response focused. But incident response, it's not like, okay, they're attacking you, you gotta like fix what they're doing. No, you kind of just like, they attack you, you find out what they're doing, and then you tell red team what they're doing, and then it's like, yeah, full points. A lot of this competition is kind of like learning experience. Red team wants to see that you're trying. There was a lot of things that I kind of just like, I just didn't know, but red team was like, hey, we'll give you half points because you tried. It was like pretty cool. The CTF portion, it's very hard. This guy Justin right here, he's good at CTFs, and like it was pretty hard for him. So if you're into CTFs and stuff and like good at them, like please join the team. But yeah, there's Poe and reverse engineering, cryptography, and coding challenges, and also trivia. Trivia is not that bad. Oh, and also the whack-a-mole. So whack-a-mole, they essentially just run scripts like against your hardened boxes and see if they can get in. If they can, then good, full points. They don't really touch your services. You don't really have to do a lot of like fixing stuff. It's kind of just like identifying attack vectors and stuff like that. Oh, I was also on the NCAE team. So NCAE is a beginner-focused cybersecurity competition. It's a team of 10, and you compete in your region. And I was about to say whoever wins their region goes to nationals, but that's not the case. Some teams do not too good in their region, so then they'll invite people from other regions that did better. But yeah, so regionals is one day. You secure one network. It's held remotely, and there's a pretty big CTF portion. We were pretty close to the other team in terms of services, but our CTFs were like way better than the other team, so we ended up like winning by a pretty huge margin. And nationals, it's also one day, secure one network. The topology from regionals to nationals is essentially the same. They try to troll you a little bit, and then they change up a little bit with the checks and like how everything's scored. And there's also a CTF portion. So what to expect on competition day? So on the left side, we have the different services that are scored. So there's web apps, databases, DNS, networking with the router and file shares. It's not one check for each. There's going to be different checks for all the different stuff. So web apps will have a check to see if that like Apache server is actually running, to see if the content is right, and then to see if SSL is running on the web app. Also for DNS, there's going to be checks for the external and internal DNS. And then CTFs between regionals and nationals was also a little different. You had some rev. There was a pretty big incident response and forensics thing. It was worth a lot of points. We didn't get it, whatever. There's a lot of cryptography and a lot of pony regionals. And also on nationals, there's a lot of physical CTF. So we had like a little like Rubik's Cube we had to solve, and then like kind of like a little cipher that went along with the Rubik's Cube. You had to lockpick something, and also you had to run around finding people that had these cards and like scan them at a table to get the flag. And also there's some pivots. I don't know. That's pretty hard. I tried doing that. So summer.
Wow. I expected to have to do like half the meeting, but thank you guys for taking all the time from me. Less words for me to speak. So I mean, as you saw, there was 4 competitions that we started doing this year. Traditionally, it was just CPTC and CCDC, but we're trying to do more. CPTC and CCDC are a little they're a little more older and established, and difficulty curve has been getting a little higher and higher. NCAE is specifically beginner focused. I know the majority of this year's team, if you ask any of them, well, I think the majority of this year's team, if you ask any of them what they knew coming in, they probably would have said, I don't know, at least I hope they do, else I'm just wrong. And that wouldn't be good. Now, competitions are cool, but I understand that for a majority of folks, you might be thinking, you know, how the heck, how do I get on the team, right? Or I don't know anything. How do I get on the team? So it's like same question, right? I was in the majority of, assuming that's the majority case, I was in that position 3 years ago because I also didn't know anything. And surprise, surprise, you can learn and get technical skills among other things, and then get on the team. That's how the process works. And that's what we have the summer for. So over the summer, oh yeah, if you don't, we also have a website that has some archived information. But over the summer, if you're not already aware, we host boot camps to prepare for CPTC and CCDC. We don't host boot camps for NCAE or Cyberforce because a lot of that information sort of overlaps with the information that these two boot camps cover. And also because we just sort of started doing them last year. So there's no real established practice for them. CPTC and CCDC. Well, CPTC, we've been involved with since 2015. CCDC since I was in kindergarten. So there's an established practice for that stuff. And within the boot camps, we cover a majority of the technical skills that you'll need to have or that you will develop when you get involved with these competitions. So for CPTC, you do pen testing, specifically network and application-based pen testing. There's a lot of business focus during the boot camp. And for CCDC, all the stuff Evan said, that's too many words. And if you're the actual structure, well, actually, I'll cover that in a bit. These are the tentative dates based on what happened last year and the previous year. We basically start off with an informational session that's pretty similar to this. And then moving forward, we have some content specific to each boot camp's whatever they're going to cover. So CPTC has hacking related ones. CCDC has defense and IT related stuff. We try to line them up so they're a little more, so they're aligned in information. So we'll try to do Windows in the same week. So hack Windows and defend Windows. These competitions are, does that say, oh no, that says, okay. I thought I said CCDC twice for a second, but if it hasn't already been implied, these competitions are very complementary to each other because, wow, surprise, surprise, when you stand up some sort of infrastructure or you try to defend it, really helps to know how to attack it or vice versa. So generally we have information session followed by and sort of introduction to stuff, and then the weeks go by, and then you have tryouts at the end. Each meeting, at least on CPTC, has historically been 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Pacific time, and CCDC has been 1 to 4 p.m. They're hosted every Saturday, and they're going to be remote again this year because our instructors are, for the most part, going to be out of state for either internships, well, probably internships, or full-time jobs if they've got one and they graduated. So it's a little hard to get everyone to meet in person on a Saturday. Also makes everything more accessible. Doing good on time. So the actual process when it comes to getting onto the team and going through is completely determined by the results of this boot camp, right? There's three core components. There's going to be the homework, the actual tryouts, and then we just do the selection from there, right? The grade breakdown is different per competition, and it changes every year based on how the competitions themselves change. We try to keep what we are doing aligned with the vision and the state of the competition. So homework is going to be some percent of the grade. Usually it's less than half, but still a considerable portion. And it's not your typical homework if you're coming from a high school or if you're in like here. I'm in CIS, so not completely bag on it, but the homework is sometimes questionable, right? This homework is not going to be easy. And we design it that way in particular. This isn't stuff where you can just, Google first click on Google, copy and paste and figure it out. The homework is designed to be challenging and allow for you to sort of investigate different parts of security, IT, whatever, and also give you a whole troubleshooting methodology. It's not just when it comes to working in security, you don't just do something and it works. You're going to need to figure out how to do a lot of research. You're going to need to figure out how to troubleshoot. And that's a significant component of the homework is basically you're going to fail a lot, but we want to see you try to push through. And also, there's just a lot of technical information to cover and a large volume. So the homework is also difficult in that regard. It's going to be graded on correctness. So even if you do it wrong, you won't get as much credit for it as you probably hope. And that's just sort of how things are. If your boss wants you to stand up a network and there is no network, it doesn't work out, right? Feel free to ask questions though when it comes to dealing with the homework. That's what all the instructors are there for. That's what everyone else is who is involved with the boot camps. I see a lot of people struggle in silence. That's not a good thing. You need to ask for help. We're there. I remember being in voice calls for 6 hours trying to help some people with some of their homework because everyone learns at a different pace and sometimes you need someone else to guide you. I remember when I started, I spent 9 hours trying to figure out how to install Active Directory. I should have probably asked for some help because it should not take me 9 hours to do it if it takes me about like 6 minutes right now, right? Then you have the tryouts. Nobody does this well, right? A lot of people will be like, like let's say for CPTC, the average score last year was like 30 out of 100. Like, oh, wow, I got 30. I suck at this. No, that everyone gets a 30. That's just how it is. These tryouts they're not just designed to be challenging, but they'd even be challenging for us or anybody else, anybody even with experience. There's a different tryout process for each competition. In CPTC, we're going to give you a network and we want you to break it. Sort of like in the actual CPTC competition. It's going to be downscaled a bit, so it'll usually be somewhere within the realm of 3 to 4 machines. And then in CCDC, it's the opposite. You have a network of machines, different machines, usually not the same ones, and you're going to have to defend them from a red team, from us and Evan and all the angry alumni who want to prey on your downfall, but not really, metaphorically speaking. I don't think it's a metaphor. Yes, in game, right, in game. And then based on the grades from the boot camp, we sort of determine who's going to be on the team. The grade is determined through homework tryouts, participation, right? And I don't know if I included it here. I don't think, what? I wasn't there when I was doing this, but there's also, we will also sort of judge if you, how do I say? Judge your character. I guess this ties a bit into participation. Basically, do you tell people they suck and ignore them and then tell them to, I don't know, negative things, right? Or do you help people? Are you available to, help the people you're competing against and give them information or spend the time to help someone learn, right? We don't want, what's the word that I could say on mic? We don't want jerks on the team. We want people that we know that we can work with. We want nice people. I don't think anyone doesn't want a nice person, right? So as long as if you're willing to help people, or if you're willing to ask questions and you're able to go through this process, you'll be able to make it through. And I say that coming as a person who joined the boot camps with zero knowledge, with never opening a terminal in my life 3 years ago, and asking a very high volume of questions, even dumb questions. I would ask, I remember asking the captain at the time, his name was Alex, what is local host? I don't know what local host is. And half of you might be saying, wow, what a stupid question. The other half say, oh, I don't know what local host is either. It is what it is, right? Ask away. But also do your due diligence, right? Please try to Google the question first. Because that does save on time. It's a balance, right? It's a balance. That's just how it is. I don't know what this QR code is. I had the link up earlier. Why is it different now? It's like the same amount of characters still. It's like 10. Yeah. You added a character? Oh, yeah, that wasn't there before. So this is the public server for the boot camps. When the time comes towards the summer, we'll be launching announcements and stuff. Until then, it's usually dead. Like very, very, very dead. So you don't even need to join now if you don't want to. But if you join now and you're terminally online like me and you see a ping, then there's probably an indication that we're starting things up again for the summer. But generally, as I was saying with the schedule, the boot camps, they don't really start until middle of the summer. I'm gonna hope that everyone has that link that wants it. The competition, oh man, we're only, oh, wait, no, this is fine, this is fine. Okay, we have time, we have time. Okay, oh yeah, you're right. So Evan was already talking about CCDC. This is the Western region's topology. As we were saying, I think I was trying to buy time, about a good amount of time though. But so this is the CCDC topology. You can ignore this operation core stuff at the top. The bottom two stuff is what we were dealing with this year. We had our pod, which is just a sort of group of machines that we were going to administrate. And then we had an AWS tenant that we also had to administrate. AWS running some Kubernetes stuff with funny icons and that, I don't know. I literally didn't know what those icons were for a while. And then on our on-prem pod, we had a good amount of physical systems ranging from phones, routers, our actual laptops, and some hypervisors, which were running some virtual machines. And then Evan had to manage the edge devices. I didn't think about those. You see, that's great. The great part about having a networking guy, you're like, oh, hey, I trust him with the switch.
The router did not die this year.
It didn't. That's good. That's foreshadowing. Then CPTC, they don't give us an actual topology because a part of the pen testing process is to sort of enumerate your scope and sort of understand the systems you're working with. This is a topology that we built for our report. So we had multiple subnets. We had the network which we were on. So on top left, the attacker network. We had a corporate network of machines. We had a guest network, a user network, and a train network. Oh, this is our revised topology. This isn't the actual topology because the train network had no trains. It was really funny. They said, you guys will be testing trains. We're like, oh man, we have to learn how trains work. There were no trains for both regionals and globals. Then, yeah, so basically, wow, a lot of systems hacked them. CPTC, very nice. I don't know what I'm looking at. Awesome.
All right, so the first three boxes on the left, they're going to be your assumed breach boxes. In Cyberforce, you're not allowed to touch 3 boxes on your network. So the web server is just running a vulnerable web server. CNC, CNC, that's going to run your HMI, which stands for human machine interface. And that's going to essentially talk to the PLC and the ICS. So during Cyberforce, you have to essentially like get energy from solar panels running on the PLC. And yeah, it doesn't really work if you don't know how to use an HMI. We didn't. Our houses kind of like blew up. The temperature got like really high apparently. And yeah,
Apparently.
so taskbox, AD, DNS, and public DB, those are your other three boxes. These are the boxes you're allowed to touch during the competition or prior to the competition. So these are the boxes you're allowed to harden. And essentially, red team, they kind of just do like what I said, whack-a-mole. They just run scripts against those three boxes, and if they can't get in, then good. And then you also have the gateway, which is like the router, I guess. You don't get access to this. Yeah, you don't get access to this. It's kind of just there, so you have internet. And then we also implemented a SIEM. We used Waza. It was like pretty good because one of our members, Joe, he's cracked and like he's just like good with SIEMs and stuff. Yeah, so the topology is like pretty simple for the most part. I feel like the competition and the incident response portion of the competition is also pretty simple. There's not really much you need to do for this other than like CTFs and yeah.
Oh. So Joe is
Yeah.
he's the SIEM guy. He's
Yeah. Joe's the SIEM guy. He's also the
SIEM
SOC
man.
lead. You guys should definitely check out the SOC. It's Joe's cooking up some stuff with that, and it's pretty cool. Get some good SIEM experience. And then you have NCAE. So with NCAE, this is kind of like CCDC, but a lot easier. So with NCAE, the boxes with these schools, these are the assumed breach boxes. So these boxes are all gonna have vulnerable like services, reverse shells, out of date applications that are gonna have like exploits that are gonna be run against them. You essentially have to set up your service and then harden these boxes. They're all Linux-based boxes, so it makes this a lot easier because Windows hard. I don't know how to use Windows. So yeah, the question mark box was a troll Windows box. It actually didn't do anything. But yeah, so you have a web server, database, DNS, and then you can also backup stuff, but we didn't use backups. They're not really that important. And then you also have internal Kali VMs so that you can yeah, so you can do CTFs and cheese the competition a little bit.
Bro was leaking strats.
We were cooking. And then you also have the team router. Team router, you just set up two interfaces on it, an ETH0, which is the external interface, and an ETH1, which is the internal interface. Then you also need to port forward a bunch of services. You need to port forward the web database, and I think that's pretty much it. And then you also have the shell/FTP that's going to be on the external network. You don't really have to connect this to anything. It's pretty much all set up with all the services. You just need to defend it and then stop red team. And then you also have external Kalis to like test stuff as well. So
Awesome sauce. Oh, pictures. Yeah, we win. That's another cool part of competing is when you win, it feels great. And when you lose, then you just start your demon arc for when you win next time. And sometimes there's a next time and sometimes you retire. So, you know, why would you want to compete, right? Sure, you get technical skills. Sure, it's one of the closest things you could do to replicate the things in the industry. And sure, you get to learn a lot. You know, who cares about that aside from me, right? Who cares from that? You get war stories. Everybody likes funny stories. Oh man, we're running out of time. So CCDC, right? I can't speak on all these things, but you get a lot of funny things that happen during the competitions that you get to look back and you're like, wow, funny. So one of the classic stories is when Jacob used to be our network guy, our president Jacob. He was our network guy 2 years ago. And he had a lot of iconic moments that usually ended up with us saying, Jacob, what happened to the router? So I remember during qualifiers, he said, guys, I updated the PF sense. And then Dr. Pike walked in the room and he's introducing some faculty to the competitions. He says, oh, so this is our competitors. Oh, I think that red row across the board is us. I think we're all down right now. And then this was followed up by Jacob. What happened to the router? Funny stuff. There was. You want to talk about the other stuff, Evan? I'm gonna phone a friend for this one.
Yeah, so
my
similar
laptop set up.
story at regionals. There were like, there's a router and it was both a virtualized router and a real router made with just IP tables. And so we thought it was the virtualized router that was actually routing things to the network. No, it was the IP tables. And so we completely did not change the password on that thing. And then we got top 8 at regionals, which was 8 out of 8. And that was our demon arc beginning. And that's when we actually started learning things. The eggplant emoji, I had a genius strategy to change command prompt's name to an eggplant emoji so red team couldn't use it. But that really just ended up sending the eggplant emoji back to the scoring engine, which can't handle modern characters. And so we broke the competition.
Can handle the eggplant.
That's why my name is Eggvin, by the way. Cal Poly, where are you? Our amazing captain Gabe last year messed up the times and we arrived at the competition 30 minutes late on the second day, which ended in the organizer yelling at us in his marine voice. Cal Poly, where are you? Let's yeet their EKS cluster. That's a fun time that Dylan had where they deleted our Kubernetes nodes and we didn't know how to set them up again, and they didn't give us the information on how to set it up again, so we just cried. Those are the good ones.
Yeah. Oh, I
Is
mean,
there
where,
CBTC
there was where my license is at. Where
Oh,
they
yeah.
had- here's a Palo Alto firewall. They're not. Wait, were they supposed to be licensed?
They were not supposed to be licensed. We were
Oh.
supposed to get the license from the internet, but they didn't test mine, and so mine didn't work. I spent 3 hours with the Palo Alto supervisor, and ended up telling him to leave the room.
We also had like a lot of injects regarding that specific.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
that
yeah.
was funny. Yeah, and then yeah, you have CPTC. I remember Derek. We were giving a presentation about how can RF attacks impact an airport, because our client was an airport. Well, one, we didn't know anything about RF, so we just kind of started professional BSing. And I remember Derek was saying, yeah, they can bomb the ATC with a lot of signals. I don't think you're supposed to tell an airport that you can bomb them. I don't know if they like that very much. I didn't. I kind of just looked at it in the middle of the presentation. We get jiggy with it. You lose your mind during the competition, so sometimes you just have to, bust it down. I mean, Nathan was iconic. They had us send in a picture of ourselves and some information about us. So they could sort of do like a little carousel, like who the competition is. So we all submitted, our information. We said what we specialize in, where we were from, our interests, and then Nathan submitted that. It was pretty good. I don't think he actually enjoys the outdoors. I don't know why he put that one there. We were supposed to compete in Rochester that year. But we had to take a COVID test because it was during COVID. So we're like, oh, that's easy. All of us are feeling fine. And then like that night, 4 hours, 6 of the 8 of us tested positive. So that wasn't good. And then, oh man, the hog rider. I don't. Yeah, we were saying hog rider a lot. Since we were competing remotely, they had us mic on, but we didn't think the room monitor could hear us. So we kind of just started saying random stuff. They could hear us though, because we asked them like, can you come over here in like a very, in a library voice, and they came over. So it means they heard everything. Not the greatest look. We still got first that year. It was a good year. What's this? Oh, funny pictures. Oh, the air hockey. Yeah, I remember that. That was good. Yeah, we take pictures. I miss a lot of these people. They're gone. They haven't come back either. They left us. Oh, this is it. Oh, we're on time. Cool. Join the competitions or tryout or something like that. We didn't get air hockey this year. Oh man, I hate Texas. I like this one. This one's my favorite one. This is actually a text box. You see?